Yeah, a bit of a word in advance. This entire panel is completely unscripted. We have roughly prepared by showing the questions that I had in mind to the participants. But yeah, we're just going to test it out if this works out all right. So what we had in mind was to share 3 different perspectives on Icinga and how we work. So first of all, from the perspective of Icinga itself, we have Bernd. Do you want to test your microphone and introduce yourself? Because probably no one knows you. No one's seen you ever before.
Okay, the microphone is not. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it works.
It works?
Yeah.
Do you want to say hello?
Hi. This is new at Icinga Camp, having the panel. So I'm curious about where it leads us. It definitely has an ending line. So yeah, I don't know the questions either. So I'm totally unprepared like you are.
Surprise. So the next perspective that we had in mind was the perspective of an Icinga partner, and that is my processor from the talk from Linux Fabrik, Markus Frey. Do you also want to test your microphone if it works?
Checker 1, 2.
And the last perspective that we had is the perspective of a user. So someone who is not affiliated with Icinga in a business manner in that way. So that is from the Universitätsspital Basel, Dominik Riewer.
Hi.
So for the first question that I have prepared to get everything rolling, I have a bit of a spicy one. And I would like to get started from the very end of the row. What is your best or worst experience that you had with Icinga, as in the tool Icinga?
Well, if we start with the positive, the best experience is always when I get called when there is a problem, and I can leverage Icinga to really help the team with the problem, show them where the problem is, maybe even provide a chart that then gets sent out to other company who says, no, we have the problem, it's not their problem, and it really helps to maybe show where the problem really is and what really needs to get fixed. And in the negative, well, the worst thing was when I updated the crucial check plugin that we use for a lot of interface checks, and well, it went kaput. Send out couple hundred messages, and then I enabled the downtime that I should have enabled before, and I didn't disable the downtime messages and send another couple hundred messages twice. Yeah. So maybe think about which messages really need to get sent out before you send them. And yeah. The notification filters are very powerful. Use them.
Yeah, from the laughter, I could gather some empathy. I feel like some other people have experienced that as well. So I would like to hand on the word. What was your best and worst experience?
The best experience with Icinga is, I think, from my perspective, it's very flexible and modular. This is something that we like as an IT service provider. We like to connect everything with everything, and that's possible with Icinga. Due to its complexity and so on, we can handle that, so it's okay for us. But the worst thing about Icinga is when you install it from scratch, a fresh installation is empty and does nothing for you. And then the work starts. Then you have to choose plugins. Then you have to install the Linux Fabrik monitoring plugins, of course, or any other plugins. But that is where the actual work begins, and that's not the end. And Icinga doesn't assist in this. And this was, at the beginning, at some point, was a little bit disappointing. I expected more at the beginning from this. I know Nagios. I used CheckMK, for example. CheckMK has a completely different approach to this, but I expected a little bit more comfort at the beginning.
So would you say it's something that's still very needed?
Absolutely.
Is that something that we could provide in the form of documentation or some smart defaults? Or what did you have in mind?
I think we should talk about if we can integrate the monitoring plugins from us into your project somehow, someday, maybe.
Good idea.
So Bernd, do you want to share your experiences?
I had more time to think about it because I'm the last one. So thinking back, I think the hardest was Icinga DB. But means the project itself is about, I don't know, 14, 15, 16 years, I don't know exactly. But Icinga DB, for those of us who are following Icinga, you know that it took us a really, really long time and way longer than we thought. And not personally, but also for everyone involved into the project, it took forever. And to be honest, there were some nights where I had the feeling we're never going to finish this, and it will break our neck in some way. Honestly, now we are through it and released it like last year. I see that we take the chance and really do new things. So if you saw the talk of Julian and Johannes with the notification thing, which I think is fantastic. I saw it for the first time today. That is cool. The thing Eric will show you later on. So it's like going out of this, going through this. I think it took us like 3 years, something, where we worked on Icinga DB and refreshed all the modules. So it was a lot of work. And for so many users, it was like, what are you doing all the time? For me, it's still the same. I don't have a performance issue with IDO. But set the new foundation to follow the vision we have with Icinga, and now being through this, and now being able to do new stuff, really new stuff, that is really a good thing.
And you would say that Icinga as a company also grew in the direction of being able to have new developments and go about it more structured in a way?
Yeah, absolutely. It means, especially by features, I think there's a lot of out there where we have to see where we can find our place in the industry. There are new things coming up. I think there's in the crazy huge market, I think there is a spot for Icinga, and I think there will be. We all will go to another system and then we'll come back 10 years ago. This is how IT industry works. Of course, we do everything the other way and then figure out perhaps it wasn't the best one. So I think there will be a place for Icinga, but of course we have to fight to keep up with all the others out there, adapt to modern IT infrastructure. But I definitely would like all the others, hopefully are involved in Icinga, would like to do new things and make maintaining the old things easier, because otherwise it eats us up, because we have to maintain all the stuff all the time.
So since you mentioned the development of Icinga DB and how it might have looked to people on the outside, I would love to hear from you two, maybe you from the outside perspective. What did you notice about the development of Icinga DB, or how much insight did you feel that you had?
Well, from the last Icinga Camp, or the one before, that I visited, there was this presentation with the laughing meme guy. I don't know how it's really called, but yeah, was a bit special, and I felt a lot of developer pain. And yeah, but it's definitely the new shiny that we want to have, and try to find time to implement. Maybe, hopefully this year, definitely next year.
And I would also be interested in how the partners felt about getting the information about the Icinga DB development and what you noticed.
We got the information for Icinga DB and we tried it out. And it looked promising, but we waited for the release because we have a lot of work to do and we have no time to deeply test new releases or alpha beta status. And so we waited until the release, and then we tried it out on a couple of productive servers, and it looked very good, and we were enlightened by the speed improvement. That was the main point for us, speed improvement and less server resources needed. So that was great. And this was for us the go to implement that in Ansible. and put it on LFOps. It's also hosted on GitHub in our deployment environment, and we will soon deploy it to our customers. All new servers have already Icinga DB enabled. All existing customers, and here's customer, then we have to plan this. It's quite clear. But that's it. We didn't participate in any way in the Icinga DB development. We knew it will come in the near future. We heard something about, as everyone, about the features, and we just heard it will speed up, and things speed up. And that promise, you made it, and now it's, for us, it's simply in production.
So you probably had larger and smaller environments to test it on. Do you notice any bigger difference between the different sizes?
You even notice it in very small environments. It's the German word Schwuppdizität in English, don't know. You feel it. You enable it, you install it, you instantly feel it. So that's great, and we enable it by default for every new Icinga installation.
So when you started switching over to Icinga DB, were you facing any major issues with it?
I didn't do it by myself, actually. A colleague did that. I heard nothing about stumbling across some issues or things like that. I think it smoothly worked. Otherwise, I have heard it there. So no, I don't think there were any issues with that.
All right, because one of my questions that I thought would hooking well, but it was when you are facing issues with new developments or something in general in Icinga, how would you approach it? I'm very happy to hear that you didn't face any with Icinga DB itself, but generally with new developments or something else, how do you approach issues, especially in your role as a partner who helps out customers?
If we approach any issues, for example, in a module, we disable it. Or we build a workaround, or we fix the PHP or Python code or whatever, or fix the database, and then we will contact you. This is the way I think it works, but we don't want to let this happen. So what we try to achieve is we build simple setups. We try to keep them as simple as possible. For example, we don't want to use high availability for Icinga as long as it's possible. So try to keep things simple, and then the things will work. They are well tested, they are mature, Icinga is mature, and if you don't want to use fancy new stuff, then you don't get any issues with Icinga. This is my experience.
I mean, you also have a lot of different environments to experiment on or gain experience with. I think you have pretty much your own environment that you work in at your job. How do you tackle issues that you find?
I have a high availability setup by the Linux Fabrik, and I first tried by hand, and it's not that easy, so I was really glad for the help, but I understand the setup well enough that I can troubleshoot myself. First I look myself, go into the configuration, the logs, and maybe even enable the debug log for a couple minutes before the disk is full, and see for myself if I can fix the problem, maybe even raise issues on GitHub. And if I don't find anything, or if I don't have the resources at the moment, I will contact Linux Fabrik, because we have a support contract. Yeah. And we also have the Icinga support contract, so we escalate.
All right, so I basically started the daisy chain in the middle here. So you as a customer, you try to fix the stuff yourself, and if that doesn't work, you come up to the partner who is going to try to fix everything, and if that fails, it goes all the way back to Icinga.
Exactly.
So, Bernd, are you involved in the process at all? when an issue from a partner arrives at Icinga?
Not so much, honestly. Not yet. The only thing I was involved that we have like a call chain, usually like Eric or Blarim doing it for Icinga. For the NetWays part is if the person on duty takes a shower, my phone rings at night still. The majority of the questions I cannot answer. I try, but I really don't have. My only problem is if I'm set up a demo system and it does not work. That is pretty much the things. But I try to do it every year to keep up. I'm a little bit out of practice, to be honest.
For every presentation, a new environment?
Yeah. Or now Blarim does it in our production system for this year's demo.
Yeah, I mean, the next question on the list would again go backwards in the chain. So we as Icinga, we have those partner systems all across the world. How do we as Icinga pass on information to the partners, or how do we share our new developments with them? I think that would be interesting to the people that are not involved in the partnering system itself. Can you explain how it works?
So mainly like Blarim and Angelica, which is also in the back, is they are taking care of the partners. They do partner calls on a regular basis. But to be honest, I don't know what the regular basis is and how the frequency is. But there's like a general information about if there is something new is coming up, what we plan to do, that the partners get an idea where we are heading to, where our vision is. But also, I know that there's all the time individual contact to some of our partners. With some partners there's more contact regarding doing a camp or doing things like Markus described with the director integration, stuff like that. For others it's like less interaction. But I would say we improved a lot in the last years, having a better communication, and also with all the things like you doing, going to conferences, also meeting partners there, having the different activities and feedback week. I think it's a good chance to interact with us. I was surprised that it looked to me from the back that a lot of people don't know the forum, and there you really can get like quick help on the forum because there are a lot of people which are very familiar with Icinga. To be honest, you have to ask the partner side if we're doing well, informing the partners. But I would say from my perspective, I think we're doing a good job, and we're always open to improve and learn. But definitely something we did not good in the first years, to be honest, because you're a partner, good luck. And we improved, I think. We learned.
So would you say that's true?
Yeah, that's true. What we use is the community calls and the website, the Icinga Camp. We self-organize Icinga camps in Zurich, for example, and then we collect our customers there and have discussions. But our main contact to Icinga is Blarim. And Blarim organized, for example, the meeting with Thomas Gelf that we can co-develop together. It was his idea. We haven't that idea for ourselves. And to be honest, Icinga for us Icinga is one of 100 tools that we support. It's one building block in all open source applications in our portfolio. So we just have no time to deep dive into a deep relationship. So we are very glad to have Blarim as a single point of contact for everything. And it's loosely coupled. It could be coupled more tightly, but for the moment it's loosely. That's okay, but it could be improved in some way.
All right. And how much of the communication from Icinga itself lands in your hands, basically? So you have the forum as the main source of information, I think?
Actually not. I choose to subscribe to the repositories on GitHub. Mm-hmm. So I read nearly all threads, some that are very, very technical and C++ or Go related I skip mostly. But the other stuff I sometimes participate, sometimes raise my own issues. Yeah, that's where a lot of the deep knowledge comes from. And well, as you said, I'm also very active on the forums. So I share those informations I gathered and, well, also learn new stuff on the forum. Yeah.
Do you feel the communication on GitHub especially is sufficient for you to stay up to date?
Well, I'm also a programmer, though not C++ and Go, so I really understand what's written there. I guess not every user will understand the level of detail going on there. Maybe something in between. The blog posts are a bit too high level, too big topics maybe. So I don't know, maybe the developers could present some in-between stuff that they're proud of on the forums, maybe share some development insights there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I mean, we're going to have it on recording, so I can rewatch it and keep it in mind. Yeah.
Please subscribe to the newsletter.
I was about to say, we also have the
Our
the
colleague
newsletter.
Katja is writing it.
Yeah.
She's down in the back with the camera. She's responsible for the newsletter. So we would like to get a newsletter from her every day. Subscribe to your newsletter. Now, I think once a week, once a month, right?
Once a month.
Once a month. So subscribe now.
All right. I'm not sure how we're on time, but I would like to look into the future after having a few talks about new developments and another one coming up now. Do you have any things that you want Icinga to move towards to? Any technologies that you think we should keep in mind?
I don't want to talk too much about it because Blarim has a talk about where we are heading. I think one thing is that perhaps we don't have to do anything on ourselves. So we came from the idea that we are, for the things we cannot do natively in Icinga, we are a good umbrella. So we try to connect with them and have perhaps a dashboard, have an alert, where things like notification manager comes in place, that not every notification needs to be like generated or evaluated in Icinga just from another system. So I think that is, if you look on the market of monitoring and observability and all the different names for the same thing, it's like you have the approach that you build like the best of breed technology and put different components together, or you have these tools out there who claim we can do anything. And I think also we don't have the capacity to do anything on our own, so we don't have like 100 people to do it. I think it also will be beneficial for us to be an open system and provide an open infrastructure to connect the things you would like to use, your metrics database, your network management, or whatever out there, or container or cloud, to Icinga, that Icinga provides a centralized view, and with upcoming things with notification manager. And if you see how many people like ask questions to Julian and Johannes, you see that I think we hit a point with the notification management, and how people struggle and how people use like services outside Europe, like using PagerDuty, for instance, where they technically are not allowed to use for transferring personal data. So I'm not like a data protection person, but it's a thing. I think we hit a nerve there, and this could help us even for users to put Icinga in place for a use case and just use it for notification management, because we do well there, and providing a platform and pick the stuff in Icinga. And just one light note, I'm always surprised that so many people don't know what we have. Like certificate management or Icinga Cube, so many people here I think have never seen Icinga Cube, and it's out there for 6 years, I don't know, 5, 6 years. So the question is like, why don't they subscribe to our newsletter? Or do we have to communicate better? So like core components of Icinga people don't know. Certificate management, all that stuff. There was a lot of things we have in the box, and our users, which I guess we have like 100% users here, don't know our stuff. That is something we definitely have to improve, that you know all the things we do.
I mean, we also have a pretty decent overview over what we offer on our website that we've redesigned a few years ago. So if you're curious on what Icinga can offer you, the website is actually rather well designed and it's rather easy to find new things that you might want to integrate as well. Yeah, thank you. I would just swiftly move back to the original question in technologies that we might not want to miss out on. Is there anything that you have on your mind?
Yeah, I have quite some suggestions. For example, I would like to see an improved API, a unified API across Icinga Web 2, and so on, one single point. That would be great for me as an integrator. And I would like to see some more check states, some more exit return codes, not just warn, crit, unknown, break with this. I would like to see more. I would like to support some informational things. I would like to see a slightly less warning, higher warning, it's not so critical, and a high critical. I would like to have some more, a variant of return codes that I can use in Icinga. I know this will break the Nagios compatibility, but I guess if you start by 10 and go up to whatever, then all old plugins will work, and the new ones could even use special Icinga return codes. And that would be great for informational purposes. It's an often asked feature, and so some plugins just want to inform admins. No notification has to be done. It's not warning, it's not critical. That would be a little change with a big effect, I think. And another thing is, I would like to see Icinga monitoring dynamic infrastructures. Not building Icinga in Kubernetes, but Icinga monitoring Kubernetes and containers. And I know Icinga is not designed for that. Icinga is a classic infrastructure monitoring tool, but it should go down the road and start to relax if a container is down and comes up. Icinga gets a heart attack when it monitors containers now, and that's something I think that could be worked on.
Yeah, I mean the whole principle of seeing if something online and containers is.
It's just a something so that I can stay at Icinga and don't have to use Prometheus or something like that.
You might want to look forward to the next talk then that is coming up. I'm not entirely sure about the time. I'm just going to do the thing.
I've seen that on the agenda, yeah.
So I think we're actually almost in time to give over to the next speaker. Do you want to contribute anything to? Oh, we have a break in between. I'm sorry.
We have a break afterwards.
I didn't want to steal your break there. Just to close the round, do you have any new technologies that we might have not talked about yet that we should look into?
Well, maybe not so much technologies, but use cases or enhancement of existing modules. I would really like to have more compatibility with high availability, especially for the modules. Right now I install maybe the web portion on both masters, but have to disable the service on one. And it would also be really, really great if those modules that collect data through the network would be possible to run on satellites, because I think we start to partition our networks finer, so that could help me a lot in the future. And also,
What's the applause for you separating your network?
Yeah. Well, I do no network at all, so I have nothing to do with it myself. So, but yeah, and also I'm heavily invested into the business process module. So a new state for kaput would be great. Otherwise, I need to really set the critical at 100% disk full. and I'm not so sure if everybody will accept, everybody of my customers in our company will accept that. And I want to really also help them to do more themselves in the monitoring. So if maybe one or the other edge could be smoothed for that, so that it's easier to change a threshold or something like that, that would be great.
All right. So I think we're almost at time's up. I want to thank you for being here with me, for sharing your perspectives, and I hope you all gained some insights, maybe some new topics to discuss with each other or us. Thank you and have a nice break.